with special celebrations taking place around most Islamic prayer grounds with special prayers offered to the nation and the world. Plus, Cameroon National Youth Council, the CNY, takes the civic engagement and moral rearmament fight to the Northwest region, with its national president Fadimo Iyamo making the Northwest region the seventh region for her bus stop. Those were major stories. Good evening to you all. This is High Prime of Monday, the 17th of June 2024. For presentation, I am attending Larry Kevin Tabot. We start off with this story on Muslim faithful who trooped out yesterday massively for the Feast of Ram. The celebrations that took place across the major Islamic prayer grounds was one that Muslim faithful in the town of Buea all gathered in different prayer grounds, most precisely with those at the Buea Islamic complex, where they gathered for special prayers that saw in attendance some top regional officials who are trooping to accompany the Muslim brothers and sisters in this celebration. As the Imam of the Buea Islamic complex, Sheikh Abubakar Mohammed, calls on Muslim faithful and others to make sure that they uphold the good virtues of what the Holy Book says. More with a reporter on that. The Muslim community in Buea all turned out massively at the various prayer grounds in the town of Buea for the commemoration of the Feast of Ram, as one of the high points was the esplanade at the Buea Islamic complex, where hundreds of Allah's worshippers trooped in.
So we looked at the community and the country at large in Africa. We've seen that because of lack of faith, even the little faith that we have, we do not trust in God. One thing to be done with almost urgently. The Prophet Abraham spent 80 plus years asking God to bless him with a child.
During his Umrah or sermon, the Grand Imam of Buea encourages all to embrace love, trust in God, and values for humanity.
So the human life should be valued. Should be valued. We think that there should be solidarity, love, cooperation, and keep away hatred and hypocrisy in all our way of doing things in life.
The different followers of Muhammad were all quite excited for the privilege of life for such a day.
I'm so happy. I am so excited, and I am privileged to be part of the feast. It's not everybody that has the opportunity.
To others, the main message preached was a reminder for them to embrace collective development.
All of my brothers and sisters, the Muslim and the non-Muslim outside, we should all come together to see how we can develop, let me say, our area, our mindset, our society, and all the like. It's very, very important for me together.
As the 2024 Eid al-Adha sacrifice sees the dawn in the town of Buea, all has been called upon to love and share with one another as we see happy commemoration of Feast of Ram to all Muslims. We move on to Limbe, where celebrations of the Feast of Ram saw Muslim faithful over there in the town of Limbe, who came out beautifully dressed in their different attires across some major Islamic prayer grounds, most especially the Islamic Central Mosque at downtown Newtown in Limbe, where the Imam in that mosque called on all followers of Muhammad to continue upholding the virtues of what the Prophet Muhammad stood for, and to look on Allah for all their prayers and supplication. This was under the watchful eyes of the mayor of Limbe, Paul Fome Ngale Bobe, who watched the said Muslim faithful practicing this ritual and prayers. As our reporter Aishamban was there.
Muslim faithful in Limbe joined their brethren worldwide to celebrate the feast of the Ramadan with a call for them to obey and worship Allah, who is their creator.
This way he breathed without difficulty for the existence of life on this planet.
They have been exhorted not to look on earthly pleasures, thinking that they are independent creatures away from Allah, their creator. The Imam Dauda of the Central Mosque No. 2 in Newtown used the occasion to thank the head of state for his continued support to the Muslim community. Vian Mikala, the senior divisional officer for FACO, alongside the city mayor, attended the event.
Pleasure to the people of Libya and I, as the first Minister Magistrate in particular, and our relationship shows through our presence in their celebration. So we are a very good relationship with the Muslim community. That is why you see we are always together, and I cannot too much emphasize, because you notice that in terms of any manifestation in the municipality, in terms of any event, you see the Muslim community playing their role as usual.
Eid al-Adha, also known as Feast of Sacrifice, commemorates the willingness of Ibrahim to follow Allah's command to sacrifice his only son Ishmael, which is usually characterized with slaughtering of a ram, goat, or a cow, which is one of the recommendations of Prophet Muhammad.
Away from the Islamic celebration, we move on to something different, this time around from the Northwest region, where youths of the Northwest region belonging to the Cameroon National Youth Council, known as CNJY, has been, the Northwest chapter has been called upon to always practice good virtues that goes to uphold the morals of the country, Cameroon. This was during a special tour by the national president, Fadimatu Iya, who was in the Northwest region, making the Northwest region her 7th region of stop regarding this national youth tour on youth rearmament and engagement in civic participation. As our reporter has more. The aspect of hate speech, xenophobia, and cyber crimes that are fast gaining grounds in Cameroon, most especially amongst young people, is a bone of contention to the Cameroon National Youth Council, as her national crusade against these vices is taking place in the Northwest region.
We are actually into a national crusade to fight against hate speech, xenophobia, cybercrime, but also bring the contribution of the Cameroonian youth to the consolidations of peace in Cameroon. So today we are in the 7th region, in the Northwest region, and it is a real pleasure to see that the young people from the region, from all the subdivisions, all the divisions of the Northwest region are mobilized here to come and have peaceful dialogue, because we decided first of all to do a marching, a march to say no to xenophobia, no to hate speech, no to the manipulation of young people, but also no to discrimination, yes to peace, yes to one and indivisible Cameroon.
The mobilization that saw a walk from some streets of Bamenda to the Northwest Governor's office, where they were heartily welcomed by the Secretary General at the Northwest Governor's office, who encourages them in such an initiative.
Dans ce périple, n'est-ce pas, notre gratitude pour la promotion de la paix, pour la promotion du vivre ensemble et pour la promotion de l'unité nationale. J'ai suivi avec une oreille attentive non seulement l'allocution du président régional, mais également et surtout celle.
To the chapter president of CNYC Northwest, who believe the platform will be able to open opportunities for a conducive atmosphere for dialogue in order to attain peace.
Definitely they will have that consciousness that actually through dialogue they can actually say through their agenda. So I think this platform is going to open them to have that zeal that there is no way we can have peace if we don't dialogue. But once we dialogue, we will address our issues and solution will be bound to come.
With the civic engagement from the Cameroon National Youth Council and her members in the Northwest region taking another dimension, all has been called upon to embrace peace and social cohesion. And great engagement there taken by the Cameroon National Youth Council, known as the SCNYC. We move on to something else, this time around with humanitarian action. Vulnerable children of Marian Joker Foundation in Boya in the Southwest region over the weekend received a consignment of relief material comprising of food items and other toiletries from the Global Relief Foundation, a non-profit organization who thought it wise to put smiles on the faces of those children as they came along with words of love, encouragement, and cash prize. We have more with our reporter Alice Deke Lingu coming.
Sunday, June 16 was a beautiful one for Marian Mojoko Foundation as Global Relief Foundation came knocking. Global Relief Foundation, which has as motto "Servanthood for Resilience," is meeting one of its objectives, which is to give assistance, charity to the underprivileged communities.
And today we are at Marian Mojoko Foundation to visit some children there who are, some are orphans and some have been placed there because Marian Mojoko Foundation too is an institution where the place is a child protection unit. So sometimes the social center can send some children, can recommend Marian Mojoko Foundation to take care of them. As we have heard from the president and CEO of Marian Mojoko Foundation, they are not just there because of those children. They seek to help others who are even out of this place. So we think that their vision also ties with the vision that Global Relief Foundation carries.
Bringing along foodstuffs, toiletries, fruits, snacks, detergents, and more, members of the foundation had a good time with the children.
Only unity, because if you are not united, even in your own spirit with God, you can actually be resilient too.
Aside this, the foundation has other objectives.
Go about the fight against HIV and other diseases, and as well as you know, today the youth are very, very vulnerable. So we are into drug abuse. We're fighting against drug abuse in the whole community, everywhere that we find ourselves in Cameroon.
Having vulnerable children at different levels, Marian Mojoko Foundation were pleased to receive their august visitors.
On behalf of the management of Marian Mojoko Foundation, we do appreciate your coming to see the kids, because whenever we have visitors like them, they bring a smile or smiles to the children's faces, because these children now will remember, okay, we are here, then therefore there are other people out there who think of us. And so
Global Relief Foundation, as stated in its vision statements, seeking to put God's love into action, has again this day done so by putting smiles on the faces of these children.
And we move on. You are watching High Prime, and we are coming to you live from our new studio here in High Television. We move on to something else. This time around, we talk on drug abuse, where drug abuse is a rising phenomenon in Cameroon and most other African countries, as young persons living in these parts of the world take it upon themselves to make sure they consume drug in a certain degree that is not good for the human system, according to biologists or medical practitioners who argue that excessive drug abuse goes a long way to make the lifespan of the various persons who are involved in such acts to be short. As Cynthia Latte does us more.
Today's hard drugs consumption amongst Cameroonian youths beats every imagination, as these young stars take absolute pleasure in consuming these dangerous substances that cause them go haywire. A recent happening in this light is the recent killing of a damsel in Yaoundé by young men who broke into her residence, making away with money and other valuables.
The Divisional Office for the Judicial Police for the Central Region received a complaint from the family of the said lady that their daughter was nowhere to be found. As such, they were asked to later on pay a ransom of 100,000 francs from the abductors, but after receiving the money, she was later on killed in a very despicable way.
Alors que de toute évidence, alors que la famille s'attelait à mobiliser la dite rançon, eh bien ces bourreaux vont entreprendre cyniquement de l'exécuter dans des conditions d'ignominie et d'atrocité.
The gang of 4 youngsters being presented to the police, the Chef of Service for Research and Criminal Investigations in Yaoundé cites massive drug consumption being the principal cause of these acts of criminality. The alleged armed robbers performing on how they carry out the criminal act on the lady, the Chef of Service for Research and Criminal Investigation says the lady's corpse was discovered 2 weeks after being killed.
Absence, et à son arrivée, eh bien, ils vont la prendre à partie, la ligoter autour d'une chaise, bâillonner.
Suffocating their victim with a plastic bag. The victim shows signs of agony that later on saw them hitting her with a big stick that will lead to her tragic end, and her corpse will only be found in 2 weeks' time later on in a decomposing state. After our discovery, we sought out to identify those responsible for such a crime that led us to the said gang. They were presented before the Attorney General. We want to call on the population to be mindful in the rate of drug consumption, as it is quite prevalent in our Cameroonian society today, as these set young men were under the influence of drugs. We call on everyone to always call the toll-free numbers, that is 1500 or 117, whenever they find a suspected case.
Another macabre incident happened in Yaoundé less than a month ago, when a young man killed and dismembered his mother with the assistance from friends. With this, one can say the rate of femicide and criminality is fast gaining steam in the nation.
And we are sorry for that mix-up there. That was Rita Mafani Mujoko reporting there on a young man from Enam who, alongside with his friends, accompanied him to kill his own mother in the city of Yaoundé. We move on to something else. This time around, some elderly persons living in Boya and sick persons too, and persons living with disability, not forgetting internally displaced persons known as IDPs in the southwest region, have been offered free consultation, food items, donation, and other consignment of relief materials. This was a consignment given by the Kenneth, the Kenneth charitable organization based abroad, who thought it wise to bring this set consignment of goods to put smiles to the faces of these less privileged persons in society. Alice Lekelengwe Kome once more.
In giving back to their community, Kemat, a charitable organization, was in Boya over the weekend, reaching out to the neighboring communities.
It's derived from the children, the seeds God gave me from my marriage. And we are here today just to give back to the community. How far God has brought us. Little, and we felt in our hearts that whatever He has given us, we have to share. We can't keep it within us. We have to give back to the community. So that's one of the reasons we are out here today, taking care of the elderly, feeding the hungry, clothing the naked. Not that like they are really naked, they're not naked, but we know that taking care of the less privileged, I put it that way.
Coming back from the diaspora, the Kemat started the day by teaching about Jesus to the people and giving them the word. The population made up of the sick, elderly, handicapped IDPs were opportuned to benefit from the KEMATs.
We are trying to support the people from different parts of the Southeast region. We have people from all the way from Tico, we have people from My 18, we have people from Mutengene, we have people from Bokwai. We're supporting them with their clothes, there's some food items that are being shared out to the people, and then also there's some medical checkup that is being done here. So basic checkups like blood pressure, blood sugar, and then there's also some few medical devices that will be handed over to the people.
Medical practitioners were on seat to attend to the population.
H32
So what we are doing
LBS
is
72.
just helping the patients to know their blood sugar,
Yes.
either the random or the fasting, for those who have eaten, for those who have not eaten. And then we are running a rapid diagnostic test for malaria.
Well, the activity is going on smoothly for now. There are people with a little bit high blood pressure, some people with temperature, especially the elderly. They have this tendency that when they see the BP machine, they become nervous. So it definitely will increase the blood pressure.
To the beneficiaries, it was a full package. To these young KEMATs, coming home and giving assistance to the elderly is a privilege to him.
This experience, I found it for me, it's been fun because I've been able to help a lot of the grandmas and the fathers that haven't been able to walk around on their own, so I've been able to help them with that, as well as carry their stuff to where it's supposed to sit down and direct them to where they need to go. And the entire experience for me has been pretty fun because normally with me, I like sitting down. So this experience of getting up and helping other people has been it's new to me. Actually, no, not that new, just more so more invigorating for me. So I find it more joyful helping other people.
Apart from foodstuff, the KEMAT also gave out clothing, shoes, bags, and other items to the population. On to our foreign page for tonight. At the end of Sunday's weekly prayers at the St. Peter's Square in Vatican, Pope Francis called on the national and international authorities to make sure that they stop the bloodshed in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo in West Africa that has saw several loss of life over the years in that worrisome part of the DRC. Aisha Mbeng captures the Pope's homily to the world and utters us in greater perspective.
Pope Francis has called on national and international authorities to take action to stop the bloodshed in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, following a week in which dozens were killed in the North Kivu province. At the end of his weekly Sunday prayers on St. Peter's Square, he highlighted the fact that many of the victims are Christians.
We continue to get painful news of battles and massacres that are happening in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. I appeal to the national authorities and to the international community to do all that is possible to stop the violence and to protect civilian lives. Of the victims, many of them are Christians, killed for their beliefs. They are martyrs.
With many Christians being amongst the victims of the recent attacks, Pope Francis referred to it as killed in hatred of their faith while describing them as martyrs. The Pope also urged people to pray for peace in all areas afflicted by war, specifically mentioning Ukraine, the Holy Land, Sudan, and Myanmar. Congo's government, on their part, declared at least 41 people killed in the latest incident in the province, whereas civil society groups put a much higher death toll.
We saw soldiers running away from their positions as fighting erupted between them and the rebels. That's why we left. The fighting was too intense in the city.
In the meantime, the authorities blamed the Allied Democratic Forces group for the latest spate of attacks in the Benin region. Notably, nearly 150 people have died in the North Kivu since the beginning of the month in killings attributed to the Islamic State group-linked rebels. Worthy of note is the fact that the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo has struggled with armed violence for decades as more than 120 groups fight for power, land, and valuable mineral resources.
And with that Pope's homily of last Sunday, which was yesterday, this is where we draw the curtains of today's newscast, High Prime of Monday, the 17th of June, 2024. Thanks for watching and take the appointment same time tomorrow. Good night.